Damage assessment crews will head into fire zones across New South Wales and Victoria today to work out how many properties have been destroyed. They're making the most of easing conditions before several more fire spike days heading into the weekend. In the past 48 hours, at least another 60 homes have been lost, but that number is expected to rise into the hundreds. Joining us live now is New South Wales RFS Commissioner Shane Fitzsimmons. Shane, thank you for your time. Can you tell us how are conditions looking today?
Yes, good morning, Annalise. Conditions are certainly more mild today. We've got all fires now down at the advice alert level, which is a good thing. Having said that, we've still got more than 130 fires burning across the state, and many of these fires have still got very active fire edges, but they're not posing any immediate threat to anybody. There's literally thousands of kilometres of fire edge that's going to need some attention, that's going to need containment line established and consolidated over the coming days before we see a return to hotter and drier conditions that are expected towards the end of the week. Pardon me.
That's right, very much forgiven. Now, it looks like you had a pretty tense press conference this morning. Are you being caught in between this stoush with the New South Wales government and the federal government over the ADF? Is that something that's pressuring you?
No, not at all. I think the only thing that I'm disappointed with is some of the comments that are being made. If they are true, then people should put up or shut up, as they say in the old days. If there is this suggestion that we've ever rejected something, then what is the example, and why hasn't someone asked us directly about whether that's true or not? The second thing I would say, in the midst of one of the worst crises that we've ever experienced here in New South Wales, when there is absolute tragedy to families and despair to communities right across New South Wales, our job as a collective, our role as a collective in support of our community is to be across our brief, is to be across what's going on. The only way we can do that is through effectively communicating. And the other important aspect is to ensure that we are providing the confidence that the community expects. If we are not across what's going on, and if we are not doing all that we can to support and protect the people of New South Wales, then absolutely call that into question. But don't do it through rumour, innuendo and a lack of fact-checking. I suppose I am frustrated in that regard, because we've seen a very responsive, we've seen a very decisive community, because we've tried to share and keep people up to date all the time, and we're doing that through communication. We're doing that because we genuinely care and value the welfare of people right across New South Wales that are so terribly affected by the enormity of the firefighting challenge that's confronted New South Wales this season. And unfortunately, we've still got a way to go. I have never seen the relationship between the Defence Forces and the civil services better than they are today, better than they have been for the many months that we've been involved in this enormous campaign fire program, firefighting effort that's been burning right across the length and breadth of New South Wales, from the Queensland border right down to the Victorian border. I think the community should have every confidence in the extraordinary professionalism that's extending right from the men and women on the front line, interacting with their community, right through to the state level, where we've got the best of people, the best of technologies, the best of resources, working shoulder to shoulder between all the state agencies, all the non-government agencies, and our links with the Commonwealth. It has never been better. Why we would be casting a negative on that is beyond me.
Can we get the facts in there then? Because there is this suggestion, as you say, that there was this offer of ADF support that the New South Wales government wasn't taking up. Is that true?
As I said in the press conference, I'm not aware of this line. As I said in the press conference, that is rubbish. It's not true. All offers of assistance we have considered and accepted, and we've utilised those resources where they're appropriate. Not only have we asked for and pretty much got everything we've asked for, but we've also had the ADF proactively here working with us, sharing with us increased other technologies or capabilities that we may not be aware of, and how they might be utilised into what we're doing. So until someone presents to me what is the so-called offer that we've refused, then I can't answer your question.
I suppose this has been fuelled by your comments from yesterday when this announcement was made by the Prime Minister that he and his office didn't make you aware that the ADF was calling in the Army Reservists. Is that the only time there's been this failure of communication around the ADF resources to the New South Wales RFS?
Look, I think I ventilated that pretty well yesterday, and we've certainly moved on from that. The communication of that, I think, was atrocious, and we've addressed that. But we're moving on because with us and the ADF, we are working very closely together. We've got key people embedded in all our operations, and we are working. As a matter of fact, right now, there's a whole bunch of taskings and resources being mobilised, and they will increasingly be mobilised and bolstered in numbers over the coming days and weeks. There is no friction, there is no issue between us and the ADF, and we need to continue to ensure that we maintain that solidarity, that we maintain that unity, and we maintain that resolve to getting a very positive result for the people that are so adversely and terribly affected by these fires.
And just to be clear, are you at odds with the Prime Minister on this?
With what?
With the response about the Defence Force being called in, that there is this suggestion that the New South Wales government and that also the RFS wasn't taking up these Defence Force offers. Are you at odds with what the Prime Minister's been saying?
No, I'm not, and I need to be really clear. I don't believe, I'm not aware of anywhere where the Commonwealth Government or the Prime Minister has made such a suggestion. The only thing that came up in the press conference today was that some journalist, there was some backgrounding or some story. So at the moment, there is no fact or no substance to suggest to me that that's any position of the government, that that's any position of the Prime Minister, and certainly not a position of New South Wales.
And if we can just turn to the weather conditions ahead, are you quite concerned about what's coming up this weekend?
Yes, we are, only given that the enormity of the fires that we've got burning across New South Wales means that there's still an inherent risk. Even though they're all at the advice level, as we see a return to warmer and hotter conditions towards the end of the week, they're talking about temperatures getting into the high 30s, the low 40s further inland behind the ranges. That's going to result in westerly winds coming through, hot temperatures, dry air, and we can expect to see some fairly widespread severe conditions along the back of the ranges and on top of the ranges, and that will coincide where some of our fireground areas are. So it is still a concern for the balance of the week, but also we need to be mindful that we've still got a couple of months yet of this fire season still to run, and unless we get some real meaningful rain, the risk is going to be sustained until we get that rain.
And can you tell us, are there concerns today for the community of Eden in New South Wales in particular?
So we still have that fire burning down to the west, southwest of Eden. It's not posing any immediate threat to the community of Eden. They can get access to the north there and head out of the north of Eden. But we are keeping an eye on that fire, obviously, because if we do see a return to strong westerly winds or southwesterly winds and an ember or a flare-up out of that fire takes hold, then there is the potential for it to spread back into the community of Eden. But I would say that also, Annalise, for so many of these fires stretching up and down the coast, that we really need time, we really need to consolidate, and we really need to mop up as much of the active fire edge as we can to limit any future potential of any of these fires breaking out and spreading into populated areas.
So what's your advice for people in New South Wales today?
Oh, look, I think people in New South Wales need to welcome the reprieve in weather that we've got, take a breath, but please make sure you maintain your vigilance, stay across conditions. Whilst they're more mild at the moment, we are going to see a return to warmer, hotter, drier conditions towards the end of the week. So people need to remain vigilant. They need to be ready to act in accordance with their plan or any advice that we might give concerning risk or threat as a result of these current fires or any new fires that we see as the conditions warm up later in the week.